Hey guys, so today we're going to be installing the oil catch can on the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Now, for this, I have already installed the oil catch can mount with the instructions provided by GMS, but basically for this, we just have to pull out one of the trim fittings and replace it with that hex bolt that was provided, and we're gonna sneak the mount right in between this gap here, so that just slides in, the holes line up, and we just tighten down. Okay, so after installing the oil catch can mount, we're gonna go ahead and remove the air intake system. For this, you're gonna get a set of these click pliers to remove the clamps, the hose clamps from the intake. So we'll go ahead, make sure we pop those out. Now with that, this should loosen up. Alright, perfect. So that comes off there, and that comes off there. Before we take this housing off, we're gonna go ahead and pop these middle ones, where we get to pull off. These are all held in place by just some pressure mounts. Now we're ready to take the intake housing off, but before we do that, we want to go ahead and remove the coolant line that's clipped here on the side. So for this, I'm going to get a screwdriver just to pop that out. Actually, I'll just use this trim tool. Alright, so we popped off the line, but then there's two more in the back, so you're gonna have to feel around for those, so you can lift up, and I'll show you once this is off what those clips look like. Alright, and as mentioned, this just comes off. Just like that. The radiator line is clipped into these, so they're usually, mine were facing down, so I just had to push them down, but if they're facing up, just feel for the opening and it should come out. Okay, so for this procedure to try to pull this hose out, I went ahead and got a pair of spark plug puller pliers, as well as my heat gun. This is from a soldering station, so I can control the temperature that I will be applying onto this hose, as well as the nozzle will be focused in quite tightly. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and pull back that heat protection, and then I'll use the pliers to hold that back. Alright, so with that, I can show you guys here what that looks like. So you can see that that protection is pulled back and the pliers are holding that back in place. So I'm just gonna focus my heat on this section, and then just gradually, once I feel I've applied enough heat on there, I'll go ahead and start pulling on that. So after a few minutes of heating, I was able to just go ahead and pull that off, and you could see it slipped. Took a little bit of effort, but nothing too bad. I was able to put some leverage on it with the pliers right here, and then using my other hand, I pulled on the other side, and it slipped out. So now I'll go ahead and do the same down here. This one looks like it's gonna be quite tricky given the location, but I'll see if I can get these AC lines out of the way a little bit to give me some space down there a little bit. It uses T30s, so I'll go ahead. Okay, so that did take a lot of effort to try to move back the heat protection, just to expose that same section of the hose that we need to heat up. But after some work, I did get that done. Let me go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. So here you can see that that section is now exposed. And I have the pliers holding back that heat protection. So I'll go ahead and just apply some heat with the heat gun. I should have a good view there, so you can see. I'll be able to get in there and apply some heat. So I'll go ahead and heat that up for about 5 minutes. I think that's what it took last time. And then I'll go ahead and pull. So looks like the pliers are, I'm gonna be able to leverage the pliers from right here, and then I'll try to squeeze my hand in there to apply a little bit more of even pressure on there. But we'll see how this goes. Oh. Wow. We got it. We got it. That took a lot of effort. I ended up raising up the temperature to 300 Celsius on the soldering iron here, and just blasting it there for I'm not sure. It was under a minute, but it felt like a while. And then I put a lot of effort into it. I was able to put the pliers, and pretty much I was able to put the pliers in there and leverage it on this edge right here. At the same time, with my other hand, I was holding the T the T fitting down here. I was holding it because if not, it wanted to go with it. So I was holding that T fitting. You can see there's oil in there, so this oil catch can is gonna be great. But that took a lot of effort, and here the hose just slid it off. So you could see inside the hose there is some oil in there. But this was it. That little piece, because of how tight the engine is, took quite a bit of effort. Okay, now let me show you how the instructions from GMS show how they want to route the hose through the engine bay. So starting off down here, we tighten down that hose clamp, and then you should have worked your way into there from under these AC lines. So that pretty much follows the same path as the original, but here's where we start to diverge, and they want us to go under all of this wiring harness down here. So we'll go under these, and then there's just enough space to get the hose under this wiring harness down here, and then you'll follow that all the way down to route behind these vacuum lines here. The next one was a little bit easier, but still it was a little bit tough getting it through or under these wires down here. But same thing, there's just enough space to get that hose right through. And then on both of these, we're avoiding this peg for the air box, so make sure that there's enough space for that to clamp down on. And then this it'll circle up, looping through this cable right here. So now we'll go ahead and get the oil catch can in here so we can connect these lines up, and we'll see what that looks like. So in the box we had an additional fitting here for the oil catch can. This will allow us to pretty much get a good comfortable angle in there. Along with that, we had some more hose clamps, so we'll go ahead and install that. All right, so those are nice and tight. So now with the hose clamps installed, we can try to move forward and confirm that it's gonna close. So while we're closing the hood, we want to make sure that let's get in there. All right, let's see if we can see that. So we can see that it's not touching the hood. It's very, very close, but we'll still be able to close this hood and we'll have plenty of space, or I guess we'll have just enough space. Okay, so after checking the fitting isn't interfering with anything, you can also come in and check your hood. This is metal, so if there are any scratches, but on my hood there's nothing. So, and we saw when we peeked under that it was gonna close just fine. So with that, we'll go ahead and put the airbags back on. So now with that, you can go ahead and put back your engine cover. Let's see how that fits all together. And we got plenty of space there with the engine cover. And everything fit right up. So now we can go ahead and turn the car on to see if there's any check engine lights. Before we close up, got my pry tool in there. Make sure you're not leaving any tools behind. And then let's go ahead and close that back up. We'll go inside. Okay guys, inside the car now, we'll go ahead and turn this on. Alright, the start stop unavailable, that's from one of those dongles on Amazon, but apart from that, no other warnings. So it looks like a success.